From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you The Closing Bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to The Closing Bell.
Fun tournament to watch. Really fun Sunday of golf all together there. A lot of bubble drama as far as next week is concerned for getting into that top 30. Obviously, the pressure was on because a lot of these guys that were right on the bubble, Spieth, Theegala, Cyril Hatton, just absolutely choking down the stretch, with the exception of a couple guys there. So got through that, and we are good to rock and roll as far as that is concerned. It does sound like my audio is an issue. I hope it is solved now. Let me know if you can hear me at any point here. I think that should be solved now, so I do apologize for that. But nonetheless, we are rocking and rolling into tonight's baseball slate. Apologize if anyone was not able to hear me. That is probably on my own end there. So we're going to treasure on through, and hopefully that situation is resolved there. But at the end of the day, with a solid weekend of action, and Viktor Hovland is ripe and ready to rock and roll into the Tour Championship this weekend. 2 shots back of Scottie Scheffler, still getting the #1 look there. But it should be a really fun weekend here of golf this upcoming weekend as well. Trying to pull up the leaderboard and the odds for that one, but it might take a second for me to do that. But nonetheless, excited for everything that's going on in the sports world right now. And if you didn't hear me and the audio was an issue, Big Ten football, Big Ten shows starting up again next Friday. getting ready and rocking and rolling for Big Ten action. So it is going to be a fun. Really, this is next week or so is setting the tone and starting everything for the next handful of months. The busy season over here as far as football and basketball leading the headlines for us over here. So we are excited for that. Excited to get rocking and rolling on all things football and basketball. Obviously, basketball a few months away, but obviously all things football, especially starting up here. So, without further ado, had some fun over the weekend in the baseball world. Some jockeying for position in the dog days of summer at this point of it. Only a handful of games tonight, about 10 or so, I believe we've got going on tonight. So it should be a decent little slate. Got some obviously big implications as far as teams fighting for playoff positioning. So let's jump right into it. We're going to go right over to Detroit hosting the Chicago Cubs. Detroit, 10 games under 500. Chicago, 5 games over 500 now. These two teams over the weekend, Cubs win the series 2 out of 3 over the Royals. They are now in the last wild card spot. They've got that third wild card spot one game ahead of the Reds, Marlins, and D-backs, I believe it is. And they are 3 behind the Brewers in the NL Central there. Tigers actually had a nice weekend. Take 3 of 4 from the Guardians. And somehow, some way, I'm not saying anything here. That was probably the nail in the coffin for the Guardians. Obviously, the Tigers are further back. Tigers 7.5 games behind the Twins. If the Twins absolutely implode, anything can still happen. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying as a team that's 10 games under 500 to still have I don't know if puncher's chance is even the right word, but you know what I'm saying. This division has obviously been bad. It wouldn't shock everybody to see the Twins fall back under 500 or something like that. So if the Tigers get a scorching hot, it's still the Guardians too. We could have a wild story out of the AL Central there. But nonetheless, they are hosting the Cubs. Assad versus Faedo on the mound tonight. Both these guys have been decent lately. Assad has been transitioning to a starter role with the Cubs. He's been pretty good in that role, or solid. I should at least say solid in that role. 4 hits, 3 runs over 6 innings last week against the White Sox. Faedo, 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs last time out, so he was pretty damn good. Now the Cubs are traveling to Detroit after a nice 3-game series at home against Kansas City, like I said. Split with the White Sox. Offense has been cooled down to some degree after what they had been, obviously, at that hot stretch. So to see this one as close as it is isn't too crazy to me because the Tigers have obviously been scrappy. This Cubs offense, again, not scorching hot right now. Did open up about Cubs minus 135 or so, now down to minus 120. So I think this is more of I don't know that this is a super fishy line necessarily, as much as it is kind of just suggesting that this is a little bit more of a toss-up. Both these teams have been producing right around 3, 4, 5 runs fairly consistently this last week or so. So that's really what you're at with a total of 9, 2 guys that Assad has been pretty, like I said, pretty consistent in the starter's role in the short time that he's been in it. So I don't really know what to expect. I don't have a sweeping declaration of what's going to go on here. Faedo, you could see regressing for sure. He's been a little hit or miss at times, but 2 of his last 3 have been 1 hit, no runs allowed. So he's been better lately. You could absolutely see him regressing quite a bit here. Would not shock you. Same thing with Assad, though. It would not surprise me if he's got a bad. He's been, as I mentioned, I think this is 3 or 4 in a row now in a longer, higher volume of pitches role here, and he's been pretty good so far. So at some point, I think you're going to see him regress. Whether that's happening tonight, I don't know. So I'm going to lean on Detroit as a nice home underdog as being more value in this situation because I think they're plus money, and I think it's more of a toss-up game, but. Wouldn't shock me at all if the Cubs have a great night and take some runs up on Faedo here. So I'm kind of listing it as a toss-up from my perspective here, but I'll lean towards the Tigers for sure. Alrighty, next one up is the Giants and Phillies. This one is an interesting one. You've got 2 teams. It's kind of a big series here. Both teams in the first and second wild card spot. Neither team has been playing super well this last week or so. Giants a little more extended time of not playing well. Phillies 3-5 their last 8. So they cooled off after obviously that hot streak that they had been on. Offense wasn't so much the problem over this past weekend as it was their pitching staff. I think they had a couple of decent run outputs, but defensively not as great. Giants lose the series to the Braves 2 out of 3 over the weekend. Offense showing a little more signs of life, but still not great. Their offense has been struggling for a little bit. I say showing signs of life. Last couple of days, put up a few runs, but still nothing crazy there. Pitching matchup here, Alexander versus Nola to start things off. Alexander is a relief pitcher. Not sure what the plan is after him, but he's getting the first inning or so there. And then Aaron Nola on the other side of things. 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs last time out for the Phils. So not fantastic. Nothing brutal, but not fantastic there. And you got the Phillies minus 142 at home with Nola on the mound. Is not exactly a huge vote of confidence for a team that is the home team in this situation, has a better record, has a pitcher that obviously hasn't had the best season of his career. It's certainly nothing close to it, but obviously a name that warrants some respect if he is to be in a spot where he is in for a great game. I am kind of leaning towards the Giants on this one. Like I said, 5 and 4 runs scored the last 2 days, up from 1 and 0 the 2 days prior to that. A handful of 2 or less outings from their offense. Like I said, showing some signs of life at Atlanta, now going on the road to Philly. Probably going to show some sense of urgency in this one against a team where obviously they're trailing in the wild card spot and obviously trying to fend off the handful of teams below them. So obviously both these teams should have some sense of urgency, but I'm going to lean towards the Giants in this one. If Nola and the Phillies were in for a great night, I would have respected at least minus 160, especially with the way the Giants have been playing. So I'm going to lean kind of heavily towards the Giants on this game tonight. And those first 2 games, both at 5:40 my time, 6:40 East Coast time. Moving over to the next time slot, Cardinals and Pirates. Probably going to skip over this one for the most part here. You got Drew Rom making his Major League debut for the Cardinals. And Bailey Falter, obviously a very hit or miss guy. 5 1/3, 4 innings, 1 earned run last time out, so it was out there. He's been with Pittsburgh for a few outings now. But both these teams, they've both shown some signs of life over the last month or so. Pittsburgh kind of got themselves out of that big slump, but now they're kind of in the middle. They're kind of playing like both these teams kind of playing like their 2023 versions of themselves. So on top of a Major League debut, and neither team really having any any momentum right now at all, I am going to sidestep this one for the most part here. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Bailey Falter is no longer the listed starter, so even more reason to avoid this one. It's going to be Hatch on the mound getting the start here. So had bad information on that one, old information there, but nonetheless, still going to avoid that one altogether, really. So we're going to move on from that one. Mets and Braves is the next one up. 6:20 my time, 7:20 East Coast time. Peterson versus Winans for the Braves. Peterson still fairly consistently been going 3 to 4 innings here, not letting him go into that second time through the order. And it's been paying off to some degree. He's been solid in that 3 to 4 inning role these last few. And this is the third appearance for Winans on August the 12th. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, so not too bad. Braves obviously cruising right now. I believe they lost yesterday, but still, nonetheless, they are cruising right now. And the Mets actually have won 2 series in a row. 5 out of their last 7. That's over the Cardinals and the Pirates, losing 1 game in each of those series. But their offense is alive right now. This is maybe the most lively point we've seen from this offense in the Mets after the ugly season that they have had. Minus 218 on the money line. This is a tough one because I don't know what you're going to get out of Winans. Obviously, you have to. I think you pump the brakes because you have to give some respect to this Mets offense. But at the end of the day, if anyone's interested in continuing to ride some type of train on the Braves with how they've played, I cannot fault you at all. The total is 10.5 on this one, 5.5 for the Braves on their team total, even a flat 6. And then you've got over 4.5 for the Mets. So I might stay away from this one. I could see the Mets offense, coming back to the mean a little bit here. And I really don't know what to expect out of Peterson in that first few innings there. So I'll lean towards the Mets offense, or at least maybe this game staying closer than you would think. But at the end of the day, I could see this one going a million different ways. Boston and Houston, another one that's actually a fairly big series here. Paxton and Javier. Red Sox, obviously, paying attention, sweep the Yankees over the weekend. They are now 3 behind the Mariners for the wild card spot. They are 3.5 behind the Astros, who occupy the second wild card spot. That Astros team was swept by the Mariners this past weekend. They are now 2.5 behind the Rangers for the AL West. They are a half game up on those Mariners and then 1 game up on the Jays. So sandwiched in between the Red Sox and those few teams there is the Jays. But this is certainly not all said and done. If the Red Sox can take it to the Astros here, the Astros are kind of on in danger a little bit of falling out of these wild card spots here. And Obviously, the Rangers get themselves back underneath. The Astros are a bubble team right now, so they obviously have a sense of urgency. You need to have a sense of urgency. Red Sox do have some urgency right now after this past weekend. But as mentioned, you got Paxton, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs last time out. Javier, on the other end of things, the last couple of months just hasn't been quite in form. He's been fairly consistently mediocre. Not really a hit-or-miss situation. He's been 3 to 5 earned runs allowed here for the last couple of months after a nice start to the season. April, May was solid. But these last few months just haven't been very strong for him. He's been rather mediocre on his side of things. You've got a flat 9 on the total in this one. So on one hand, I'd be calling for some Paxton regression at some point here. The fact that you're getting over 4.5 at plus money for the Astros at home against that situation isn't exactly lighting my eyes up a little bit. So on paper, that's where I might lean. But the fact that this one's kind of jumping all over the place, if my numbers if this information is incorrect, the Red Sox opened as favorites in this one. So I might, as much as I want to say I believe in Javier to turn things around, I'm not sure what to make out of this one. I think a lot of people might be looking at the Red Sox after this weekend. They put up in 4 days in a row 3 wins and 1 loss going back to the series prior to the Yankees, 7, 8, and 6 on the board for their offense. So their offense is obviously hot. But to only see this as a flat 9 and the Red Sox 4.5 at plus money as well is a little concerning to me as well. So I might go. I'm not saying I'm not sure. There's something going on here that isn't adding up to me. I will go with a better Javier start and kind of subduing this Red Sox offense. That's where I'll go on the one hand. But you might just get a lower pitching or a lower scoring game altogether. And so I might be leaning towards the under 9 game total altogether. But at the end of the day, there's something going on here. I would have preferred if the Astros were a bigger favorite in this one. If their team total was maybe even higher than that one, and that would have suggested maybe some Paxton regression. I do think he's obviously had some starts where he's given up some higher hit totals and run totals. So that's where I would lean on paper. But at the end of the day, this one kind of smells at the very least, I do like Javier to have a better start, but Paxton might be nails as well on his side of things. So I'm going to go leaning towards the under 9 on the game total on this one is where I'm going. Texas. I'm sorry, we almost skipped over my dreaded White Sox right now. Losers of 2 of 3 over the weekend at Colorado. The home team rocks. Much to my chagrin, my prediction of the home team rocks turning things around comes to fruition in the series against my home team. So that one hurts a little bit in some respects, but they've got the Mariners with Luis Castillo on the mound. And Touki Toussaint for the White Sox there. As far as this pitching matchup is concerned, Luis Castillo last time out, 7 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned runs. He's been a little back and forth these last 2. I expect him to maybe steady it out. But the last 3, 6 innings, 10 hits, 7 earned runs, bounce back fantastic. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run. So obviously great there. And then the little bit of regression, 9 hits against the Royals last time out. It's over 7 innings, 4 runs. I expect him to get things ironed out a little bit here. Especially, as the season continues to go on. They've got some more sense of urgency. And Toussaint, on the other hand, was not bad at all against the Cubs. 4 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, couple of bombs, 5 walks. So not special, but kept them in the game. White Sox, actually, that was the game that they won in that series against the Cubs, 2-game series there. So I think you've got a fair line here, minus 190. But at the end of the day, this White Sox team offensively has been showing a little more signs of life, but you never know what you're going to get out of Touki Toussaint here. This Mariners offense, 10-7 the last 2 days. So to see the total at 8.5 and their team total only at 4.5, minus 125, seems a little too good to be true there. So I'll go another one where I'm going under the game total. Good Luis Castillo start, as well as a serviceable outing from the White Sox pitching staff here. So I'm going to go under. You might even get under 8 at plus money there, under a flat 8. Want to buy the hook. I'm not sure what the odds are there, but I'd be interested in the under on this one here in Chicago. Moving on, last 3 games. There's one that we probably won't have much to talk about with, but Texas and Arizona is this next one up, 8:40 my time, 9:40 East Coast time. Let's see, Montgomery versus Slade Sassoni, assuming that's the correct pronunciation. Anyone can correct me there. But you got Sassoni, a rookie. 4th appearance here for the D-backs. Total of 10 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, 7 Ks. So nothing special, but it hasn't gotten lit up or anything along those lines. I think 2 of the 3 of those appearances are starts. And Montgomery, on the other hand, has actually been really steady with the Rangers, was really solid as the last month or so with the Cardinals. 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, no walk, 9 Ks last time for the Rangers. These two teams, however, a little bit of a different story than what we might have looked at a week ago if these teams were matched up. Rangers now on a 4-game losing streak after obviously a scorching hot streak. Their offense went quiet in 3 of those 4 losses there. And this Diamondbacks team kind of turning things around after an ugly stretch. 3 straight series won, 7-3 over that 10-game stretch. It is, however, a good chunk of that. 2 series against the Padres, 2 series wins, and then 1 against the Rockies sandwiched in there. But they're back to 1 behind the wild card there in that big pack in the NL wild card race. So you've got a situation, high leverage situation of 2 teams obviously not jockeying against each other for positioning, but a big both these teams going to have a lot of big series going down the stretch here. So at the end of the day, I think the concern is maybe Montgomery, as good as he's been, is due for some regression at some point. And I'm in a situation where you've got 3 of these last 4, like I said, 4 straight losses, 0 runs. They bounce back with 8 runs, but then 1 and 2 runs these last 2 here. A little concerning, but at the end of the day, no idea what you're going to get out of. Again, I might be wrong and outdated with this. I was only doing this research two hours ago as far as who's starting. So I've got conflicting info as far as Joe Mantiply getting the start on one of my apps and Sassoni on the other one. So that one is obviously got to figure out what the situation there. But I guess where I'm kind of alluding to is I might be more interested in a little Montgomery regression on one side of things, and I could see Arizona's offense. You can get a flat 4 plus money. And on the other side of things, it's a little hesitant. You obviously could get a huge bounce back from the Rangers, and you obviously don't know what you're getting out of this Diamondbacks pitching staff. So that question mark is going to lead me to really feel more comfortable with a little bit of a Montgomery regression. Obviously, he's been very, very good. But I think if the Rangers as a 72-52 team up against this Diamondbacks team were A, going to have a fantastic outing from Montgomery, and B, going to have a huge offensive bounce back, I think they would be a much bigger favorite here. I mean, you can get them plus money on the run line. I think that's a little concerning there. So I am going to go with a team total for the Diamondbacks. As long as you get it over 4, get that plus money. Gonna leave the over 3.5 at -130 aside. Give me the plus money on the over 4 for the Diamondbacks tonight. As I mentioned, you've got the Tankathon Bowl here today in the MLB. The 2 bottom teams, A's and Royals. A's the home team. Davidson on the mound for the Royals. Last I checked is going to be a bullpen game. Blackburn on the other hand, 7 innings, 6 hits, no earned runs last time out. This Royals team has been losing. A's are the A's. The Royals team has been losing, but their offense is not dead. 4+ runs in 8 of their last 9. A lot of those are losses, but the point is their offense is at least not a total dead situation here. So take that for whatever it's worth. I mean, again, that the caveat to that is that their pitching and defense has been atrocious. So it's, again, you got to go over a flat 4. I would say the better advice is maybe to just stay away from this matchup altogether. Maybe the Royals are trying to take this opportunity to get themselves back into potentially the number 1 pick, because it is a 6-game difference here. But nonetheless, this Royals offense, you can't, at the very least, I guess what I'm saying is don't look at this Royals team as being a total pushover, because their offense has been a little bit alive these last couple of weeks. They've been putting up some runs. The story really has just been how bad their pitching has been, and pitching and defense has been. So, again, obviously the A's are the A's. Their pitching and defense has been just as bad, but I'd be a little more interested if the total was a little higher in this one. It's obviously at 8.5 there. So I think your best course of action is to stay away from the 2 worst teams that matchup today. Let's see, Miami and San Diego, another one where my pitching matchup might be a little past its time. One app's got me telling me it's Ryan Weathers. The other one's telling me it's Johnny Cueto for the Marlins. So that is a little frustrating. Then we've got conflicting info there. Might even see both of them tonight. That really wouldn't surprise me at all, as if you see both of them tonight. Ryan Weathers has not been very good. This would be second outing with the Marlins after coming over from the Padres. Doesn't typically go. Another guy that doesn't see the line, go through the lineup 3 times in a row. So if you do see him for 3 innings, you might see Johnny Cueto for 4 or 5 innings. I'm not sure about that. But he has been obviously pretty damn bad. And now you've got Michael Wacha on the other hand, making his second appearance after an IL stint. was very, very good earlier in the season, was really good last time out. 5 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs. So really picked up right where he left off. Still probably getting babied a little bit as far as his pitch count. But this Padres team is still the Padres. They're 6 behind the wild card. And a team that's one out of the wild card in the Marlins. They just lost the series to the Dodgers. Obviously, I'm sure plenty of people have put the Padres out of their mind, but if anyone's holding out hope, this series is the only one against the 3 teams that are 1 game out, and I think they've got some games against the Phillies and Giants. So those are the games that they got to make up here if they have any type of shot. Again, I'm not saying they do. Pitching staff has obviously been all over the place with the exception of a couple guys, but nonetheless, this is one that they have to have. But the Padres are minus 195 on the money line here. So pretty sizable favorite in this one. Plus money on the game total. Not giving a ton of respect to who the Marlins might have out on the pitching mound today. But I'm going to go ahead and say I think you stay away from this one. I think this one is going to be closer than what these numbers are telling you. I mean, whether Michael Wacha goes 5 innings and then the back end gives up a few runs, or Michael Wacha regresses for the first time finally. I don't think this one's as easy as Michael Wacha. I mean, I would be shocked if he goes past 6 innings, let alone 5 innings. So it is a little sketchy here. If Ryan Weathers was going to get blown up, or whoever is pitching here today, actually now this other app is telling me it's also Ryan Weathers. So I think we got confirmed for Ryan Weathers. If 4.5 at minus 120, 125, I think you'd be seeing a little higher number than that. So something's not quite right here. I'll say maybe a better outing from Ryan Weathers. But then again, you've got a minus 190 line for the Padres. So I don't really know what to make out of this one. I'm staying away from this one and kind of suggesting that I think this one could just be maybe a lot closer, a 4-3, 5-4 type game here one way or another. So not jumping all the way into the deep end with the plus 165 for the team that's above 500 against this ugly Padres team. But a lot of respect being given to Michael Wacha in this case here. So got to respect that to some degree, but at some point he's going to regress a little bit. He's obviously been great. I'm not trying to jump in front of that train, but that's where my thoughts are. I'm kind of just staying away from this one tonight. As mentioned in the opening of the show, that's about all we've got for today is the MLB slate. If you didn't hear me, I know the audio was a little wonky. We will be back with some Big Ten content each and every week starting next week for Big Ten football and then leading right into Big Ten basketball once the time comes. But next week we've got plenty of good Big Ten action starting up on Thursday. I don't know, we might miss that one. Maybe, hopefully, we'll be able to talk about that one prior. That is a Nebraska-Minnesota game that could be pretty good, and then a couple good matchups over the weekend. Though Ohio State-Indiana is a conference matchup, but could be an ugly one there. And West Virginia, Penn State, obviously not 2 Big Ten teams, but Penn State team is a fairly big favorite, but obviously another Power 5 team, and then. Maybe 2 of the bottom ones on Sunday getting the action could be worth talking about. Could be worth betting. Northwestern and Rutgers are also on the slate there, but there's also some fun non-conference games that I'm sure we'll have some things to talk about there, and then it'll only get better from there on out. So thank you all for stopping by today. Thank you for Connor for stopping by. Thank you for helping me out, letting me know that you can't hear my dumb butt. My dumb head over here, but nonetheless, we'll be getting things rocking and rolling. We're only just on the cusp of football, and things are going to get really hot and heavy for football season here, on top of obviously the end of baseball and baseball playoffs, so things are really heating up for us as always here. But nonetheless, thank you all for stopping by. Hopefully we gave you some fun for tonight and the MLB, and I will see y'all tomorrow. I know we've got, I'm not sure what the rest of the schedule looks like tomorrow, but assuming there is plenty of baseball games on, you will see me here once again tomorrow. So thank y'all for coming out. We will see y'all later.